right, guys, welcome back to another video. So we have a bunch of stuff to talk about, but let's start off here with some more Redfall news. So if you get to the end of the game, which I haven't yet, I'm about 13 hours in still. I haven't gotten to the very end yet. There is this picture here that pops up. It kind of gives more insight into what happened with Redfall in terms of the development. Now, I'll read here. It says, "Thank you. When we set out to make Redfall, our goal was to create an ambitious new game while building on Arcane's signature creative values. Our focus is always atmospheric world building, exploration, and game mechanics that encourage players to improvise. The challenge was to keep these elements strong as we added an open world mission structure and 4-player co-op." So right there in that first paragraph, they talk about the things that make Arcane games awesome, which to me, one of the biggest things is that atmospheric world building. And you can see the hints of the atmosphere and the world building that they were going for within Redfall. There is some cool atmosphere in this game. Don't get me wrong. There is some cool stuff there, but it's just missing a lot compared to previous Arcane games. They continue on here saying, "In order to bring Redfall to life, we endured so much together: the pandemic, global upheaval, and a once-in-a-century ice storm that shut down Austin, Texas for a couple of weeks. The final result is a testament to the people who labored for years on the game, obsessing over every aspect. Our desire is to make it is something great for our players and for one another. It's what kept us going." Directing Redfall, trying to guide the team through all that happened along the way was illuminating and inspiring. We want to express our deepest gratitude to the teams at Arcane, Roundhouse, and Bethesda, and to all our development partners around the world. It's an experience that none of us will ever forget, and it's our greatest pleasure to finally turn the game over to our players as we continue to expand and deepen it. We hope that you love Redfall as much as we do. So they mention a couple of things here that affected the development of this game. Now, a lot of people are looking at this and they're saying that they're kind of pulling out all of the excuses for the actual end state of the game. And I mean, you could say that because they're talking about the pandemic and global upheaval. You can make comparisons to other studios and how other studios haven't released products the same way as Redfall was released. Although overall, I would say throughout the entire industry, especially in the AAA space, or even specifically in the AAA space, I should say, most games that are coming out and there's issues, there's bugs, there's stuff that needs to be updated. They're not the complete versions of the game. The closest comparison we have right now, or the most recent comparison we have right now, is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, with all of the issues, seemingly is an incredible game, but it did release in a bad state, which turned a lot of people off from the game. Redfall, again, releasing in a terrible state, turning a lot of people off from the game. But we're also seeing the numbers of Redfall in terms of the player base. It's actually charting pretty high. People are still jumping in and playing it. And I think that is the Game Pass effect, where they're willing to give it a try, even when it's getting 4s out of 10 and 5s out of 10. But here's a nice little statement they put out after you beat the game. It gives a little bit more insight into what was going on at Redfall, at Arcane, when creating this game. And hopefully, as Phil Spencer said in his interview, they're going to add those updates. They're going to fix it, and more content will be coming over. Now sticking on Arcane and Redfall, here's something a little curious. Arcane Austin is actually already hiring for their next AAA game, even with Redfall just releasing, and the updates aren't out yet. 60 FPS isn't out for console. The AI hasn't been fixed. The graphical issues haven't been fixed. All these types of things haven't been fixed yet, and they're already moving on to their next game. And this comes via job posting, and it says here, overview, Arcane Studios Austin. So that was one of the questions. Is it Austin or is it Lyon? We know it is Austin. It says Arcane Studios Austin is looking for a build engineer to join our team in developing our next AAA title. This is an excellent opportunity to be part of a small and focused team of developers with a proven track record of making awesome games. As a build engineer, you will help empower our development team and assist in delivering another best-in-class player experience. So look at this two ways. One, you can be kind of pissed off that they're already moving on to their AAA game. Does this mean that they are going to be abandoning Redfall, or does it mean they're just taking a small group of employees who are working on something else to get it started, and then once Redfall is completely finished, they've released the updates, more people will move over? I think that's probably more so what is going on than them just completely abandoning Redfall. Because if they do, I mean, Phil Spencer literally would just have lied in his interview, which I don't believe he would do that. It would be such another misstep for this game. Or you can look at this the other way as well, that we were hearing a lot of these rumors that Xbox just want to push this out the door. They didn't believe in the game itself, and now that the game is out, they are just taking the hit for it in terms of the critical reception, and they're ready to move past Redfall. So there's different ways this job posting could lead people to think. But like I said, I think it's just them starting and getting ready for a next AAA experience as they still continue to fix Redfall. And I guess the other side of things is it's exciting. They're working on a brand new game, and we'll see what comes out, because I still think just because Redfall failed, Arcane does it great games, and we'll see whatever else comes out from that studio. And whenever an announcement comes, hopefully it won't be for a while, because I think if they are going to announce their next game, they should be announcing it when they are very confident that this game is going to actually hit. Whereas with Redfall, the problem was they announced, they got people hyped up for it, and then critically, it fell to negative reception. Jumping over here, we have this. As we know, EA and Xbox, they have a very good partnership. You have EA Play with an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, 10-hour trials for the majority of their new games, and then you have access to all of the games included within the EA Play subscription. And there's a lot of great content in there. If you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and you haven't checked out the EA stuff, I highly recommend checking out, even going back to like 360 games. Lots of good stuff in there. And as we know, the merger of Activision Blizzard, if it were to happen, it's going to have rippling effects across the entire industry. And EA's CEO, Andrew Wilson, was asked about this. And he's saying that he's indifferent on whether or not Activision's merger goes through, because EA is the #1 publisher on Xbox. And here is what he says. I get asked this a lot. I'm almost never allowed to answer the question. Wilson said when an analyst asked him about the merger, how the merger could affect EA, he says, I don't know what's going to happen with Activision and Microsoft, but we continue to be Microsoft's biggest partner. I think we're #1 on their platform. We're indifferent on whether that goes through or not. We feel like we have an incredible strategy, an incredible opportunity, and will continue to be the #1 publisher on the Microsoft platform. So, I mean, there you have it. I don't know if there's any worries about EA maybe switching, maybe changing, trying to grab more market share on another platform or something along those lines. If this deal was going to go through, maybe they would feel like they aren't a valued partner anymore. But clearly that is not the case. Andrew Wilson comes out here and says that they're #1. They're going to stay #1 whether this deal goes through or not. And let's say, for example, the deal doesn't go through, it does get blocked. Maybe we see more things like Ubisoft Plus getting included into Game Pass. Maybe they go out and take that money that they could have had on mergers and acquisitions and put it into adding even more value to Xbox Game Pass. I'd be all for that, to be completely honest. When I think about the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition, if it does get blocked, I don't know if I want them going out right away and buying another publisher. Not only is that going to use up all their money, it's also going to take away their focus from what they currently have. And as a gamer, as a fan of Xbox, I want to see them investing their full focus into their current first-party content and putting out just incredible first-party games, as well as adding more and more value to the Xbox Game Pass service, whether that means more partnerships with things like EA Play, Ubisoft Plus, whatever other subscription services that could be added in to the Game Pass model. And if that means even at some point they have to raise the price a tiny bit, maybe they have different tiers where you can keep paying the same price, but you don't get access to, for example, if they did add Ubisoft Plus into the subscription service, stuff like that. There's so many things that could be done if this deal doesn't go through. It's almost more interesting for that prospect than if the deal does pass. But we'll wait and see on all of that, as we do know the EU is making their decision and making their decision relatively soon. We saw the article from Reuters yesterday where seemingly they believe that they are going to be approving this deal, and that's going to have a huge effect on the overall success of to whether the deal does completely go through or not. But I'm going to leave the video there, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all of this stuff. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.